It was one of those ordinary afternoons when everything felt slightly out of sync, like a song that started too early or a clock that ticked a beat too slow. The fluorescent lights in the school hallway buzzed softly, casting sterile shadows over the scuffed linoleum floor. Students milled about, their voices rising and falling in a chaotic symphony of adolescence. I was lost in thought, navigating the sea of bodies with the practiced ease of a fish swimming against the current, when I felt a presence at my side. "Hey, you didn't say hi yesterday," a voice chimed, too close for comfort. It was a warm, honeyed tone, yet it sent a shiver down my spine. I turned to find my mom's friend, Mrs. Collins, standing there, a smile that felt more like an interrogation than a greeting plastered across her face. She was so close that the faint scent of her perfume, something floral and sweet, yet tinged with the dust of age, enveloped me like a thick fog. Hi, Mrs. Collins," I stammered, taken aback by her unexpected presence. My heart raced as I tried to gauge her intentions, the familiar warmth of her smile feeling oddly misplaced in the cold, clinical atmosphere of the school. Her eyes sparkled with an unnerving intensity, a mix of familiarity and scrutiny that made my skin prickle. "It's just a little strange, don't you think? You used to be so chatty. Now, you're practically a ghost," she continued, her gaze penetrating as if she could see the layers of confusion and anxiety swirling within me. I forced a chuckle, but it fell flat. "I've been busy, I guess," I said, avoiding her gaze. The truth was, I felt like I was fading into the background, a shadow in a world that once felt bright and full of promise. I was a junior in high school, teetering on the precipice of adulthood, and the weight of expectations, both my own and those projected onto me, felt suffocating. "Busy is good," she said, her voice dripping with a syrupy sweetness that felt strangely suffocating. "But don't forget about the people who care about you. You've always been special to me, you know?" She leaned in closer, her breath warm against my cheek, and I could see the faint lines of age around her eyes, deepened by years of laughter and perhaps a touch of sorrow. "I appreciate that," I mumbled, my gaze drifting to the floor, where a scuffed sneaker caught my attention. It felt safer to focus on a shoe than the woman standing so close, her presence both comforting and disconcerting, like a hug that lingered too long. "Just remember, I'm always here for you," she said, her tone shifting slightly, almost conspiratorial. "You're so much like your mother. I can see it in your eyes." I felt a pang of nostalgia at the mention of my mother, whose laughter had once filled the rooms of our home like sunlight. But memories of her were now tinged with sadness, shadows of her battle against the illness that had taken her from us just a year prior. I swallowed hard, forcing back the lump in my throat. "Thanks, I will," I said softly, hoping to end the conversation before it spiraled into territory I wasn't ready to navigate. She smiled again, but this time it felt more calculated, as if she were measuring my response, weighing the depth of my emotions like a scientist observing a reaction. "You know, I still remember the day your mother brought you home from the hospital. You were so tiny, just a little bundle of joy. She was so proud." Her eyes softened, lost in the haze of nostalgia. "She had such big dreams for you." I nodded, the ache in my chest tightening as I fought against the memories that threatened to resurface. "Yeah, she did," I replied, my voice barely above a whisper. Mrs. Collins stepped back slightly, her smile fading just a fraction, but her gaze remained unwavering, as if she were searching for something in my eyes. "You know, dear, it's okay to miss her. It's okay to feel lost. But don't let that stop you from living your life." Her words resonated deep within me, and for a fleeting moment, I felt a flicker of hope, a reminder that it was okay to grieve, to feel vulnerable in a world that often demanded strength. But just as quickly, the flicker dimmed, overshadowed by my fears and insecurities. I was still just a teenager, grappling with the weight of my mother's absence while trying to carve out my own identity. "I'll try," I replied, my voice shaky as I glanced at her. I wanted to believe that I could make my mother proud while also finding my own way, but the path ahead seemed shrouded in fog, obscured by expectations and the fear of disappointing those I loved. "Good," she said, her voice laced with a gentle encouragement that felt like a balm on my frayed nerves. "Just remember, you're not alone. You have people who care about you." Before I could respond, the bell rang, echoing through the hall and breaking the spell that had enveloped us. Students began to scatter, their laughter and chatter rising in a cacophony that drowned out our conversation. I took a step back, the sudden rush of bodies around us pulling me away from her intense gaze. "See you later, okay?" she called after me, her voice barely audible over the din. "Yeah, see you," I managed to reply, feeling the weight of her stare lingering on my back as I hurried away, eager to escape the intensity of the moment. As I made my way to class, my mind raced with thoughts of Mrs. Collins and her probing questions. My mom's friend was always a fixture in our lives, a constant presence during the good times and the bad. She had been there during birthday parties, holidays, and family gatherings, a comforting figure wrapped in warmth and familiarity. Yet, now her presence felt like a heavy shroud, a reminder of all that I had lost. I settled into my seat, trying to push away the emotions swirling inside me. My mind drifted to the memories of my mother, her laughter ringing in my ears like a distant melody. I could still picture her in the kitchen, flour dusting her cheeks as she baked cookies for us on rainy afternoons. The aroma of chocolate chip cookies wafting through our home was a comforting memory I clung to, a fleeting glimpse of a time when everything felt right. "Hey, are you even listening?" My best friend, Lily, snapped me back to reality, her voice sharp and teasing. I blinked, focusing on her as she waved a hand in front of my face. "Earth to Mia, what's going on in that head of yours?" "Sorry, just thinking," I replied, forcing a smile that felt more like a mask than genuine happiness. Lily narrowed her eyes, a look of concern creeping into her expression. "About Mrs. Collins?" she asked, her voice dropping to a hush. "I saw you talking to her in the hallway." She looked intense. I shrugged, trying to downplay the encounter. "Just the usual," I said, but my voice lacked conviction. "She was just checking in on me, you know?" "Yeah, but she's been acting a little weird lately," Lily said, her brow furrowing. "I mean, she used to be so fun and carefree, but now she's like this intense life coach or something." "It's just that she cares," I said defensively, though I wasn't entirely sure if that was true. "I guess it's just a lot to handle." Lily gave me a sympathetic look, her eyes softening. "I get it, but you don't have to carry everything alone, Mia. You're not a burden, and you're definitely not your mom's shadow. You're your own person." I nodded, appreciating her support, but feeling the weight of my mother's legacy pressing down on me. I wanted to honor her memory, but the thought of stepping into a future that felt so uncertain was terrifying. As the class droned on, I found myself stealing glances at the clock, counting down the minutes until I could escape the confines of the classroom. The bell finally rang, and I bolted from my seat, eager to find solace in the open air. I needed a break, a moment to breathe without the weight of expectations bearing down on me. Outside, the sun bathed the schoolyard in warm light, and I made my way to a bench beneath a sprawling oak tree. I closed my eyes, seeking refuge in the gentle rustle of leaves and the distant laughter of my peers. For a few blissful moments, I let the worries slip away, allowing myself to be present in the moment. But that peace was short-lived as a familiar figure approached, her presence cutting through the tranquility like a knife. Mrs. Collins appeared again, her smile wide as she approached me, and I felt my heart race. "Mia, there you are. I was hoping to catch you alone," she said, her voice bubbly, yet I could sense the underlying tension. Hey, Mrs. Collins," I replied, my pulse quickening. I could feel the air grow thick between us, and I shifted uncomfortably on the bench. "I wanted to talk to you about something important," she said, taking a seat beside me, her proximity invading my personal space. "I've been thinking about how much your mother loved you, and I know she would want you to thrive. I've been considering a little mentorship, guiding you through some of the things you might be struggling with." I blinked, a wave of disbelief washing over me. "Mentorship?" I echoed, the word tasting foreign on my tongue. "I don't know, Mrs. Collins. I'm really busy with school and everything." "Oh, I understand that. But this could be a wonderful opportunity for you, Mia," she insisted, her eyes sparkling with enthusiasm that felt almost manic. "You could learn so much. It's about self-discovery, unlocking your potential. I appreciate it, but I really need to focus on my studies right now," I interjected, my voice sharper than I intended. I could feel the tension thickening between us, the air crackling with unspoken emotions. She paused, her smile faltering slightly as she leaned in closer, her expression shifting into something more serious. "Mia, you're at a crossroads in your life. You're carrying a heavy burden, and it's okay to ask for help. I can help you find your way, just like your mother would have wanted." The mention of my mother sent a jolt through me, a surge of anger mixed with pain. "You don't know what my mother would have wanted," I snapped, the words tumbling out before I could rein them in. "I'm not a project, and I don't need saving." Her eyes widened in surprise, and for a moment, I saw a flicker of vulnerability pass across her face. "I'm not trying to save you, Mia. I just want to help you see the light in the darkness." I took a deep breath, trying to calm the storm of emotions swirling within me. "I don't need your help," I said firmly, standing up from the bench. "I need space." For a moment, Mrs. Collins looked taken aback, her expression a mix of hurt and confusion. "Mia, wait." But I was already walking away, the distance between us growing. I could feel her gaze burning into my back, a mix of disappointment and concern that settled heavily in the pit of my stomach. I didn't want to hurt her, but I needed to reclaim my sense of self, to step away from the shadows of my past. As I walked, the sun dipped lower in the sky, casting a golden hue over the world around me. I felt free yet burdened, the echoes of my mother's love and expectations still reverberating in my heart. I knew I had a long way to go, but I was finally ready to carve my own path, to embrace the complexities of life, and to honor my mother in my own way. The journey ahead would be tumultuous, filled with uncertainty and challenges, but I was determined to face it head-on. I was Mia, not just my mother's daughter. I was a person with dreams, fears, and the power to shape my own destiny. And that was a start.